divine presence. If there is no place that you have created for that intercourse between physical and spiritual to happen, you will not know this experience. When the Bible says that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, speaking about the mysteries of the wisdom of God that were hidden from the beginning of the age, saying that no man can know the things that are in the heart of the man except the spirit of the man. Likewise, no man knows the things that are in the heart of God except the spirit of God. And the spirit of God searcheth all things, even yea, the deep things of God. Those kind of deep things that exist in the realm of God, you qualify yourself for such engagements and experiences when you have built an altar. Are we together to that point? So what is an altar? Before we talk about what is a prayer altar, let us go to the Bible to see what an altar is. So what I like to do is that I go to the Bible to find out where the word was used the first time. And the first place I find is in Genesis chapter 8. Genesis chapter 8 and verse 20. Is somebody getting blessed? Genesis chapter 8 and verse 20. Go back to New King James. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Number 2, next verse 21. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done. So go back to 20. He built an altar to the Lord. So there are two people in this equation. You have Noah and you have who? The Lord. So an altar, like we've been trying to say, even when Ovi was leading prayer, an altar is a place of engagement, a place of intimacy and relationship between divinity and humanity. That's what an altar is. So you see, he built an altar to the Lord. So even in the negative supernatural, altars are built. So you will have a human being who erects a platform, and the whole idea of that platform is to provide legal grounds for engagement between mortal and spirit. So somebody in a territory can build an altar to Oloku. Somebody in a territory can build an altar to Shango. Somebody can build an altar to all kinds of strange demons. Because what altars are is that it provides a legal premise for physical and spiritual, divine and human, to find common ground and engagement. That's number one. Number two, he took of every clean animal of the bird, of every clean animal and every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Number two, an altar is a place of sacrifice. A place of sacrifice. An altar is a place of sacrifice. That means an altar is useless if there is not a consistent sacrifice on it. An altar is not just to fill space and time. It is there to provide the legal premise. Then once the legal premise has been established for the spirit to be able to invade the realm of men, such that there's common ground for intimacy and intercourse, then the spirit will begin to demand sacrifices. The one to whom the altar has been erected will now begin to demand sacrifices, and the one who erected the altar will be obligated by covenant to provide those sacrifices. That's why even in the negative supernatural, when you find a priest of darkness, he knows or she knows the demands that the strange spirit has put upon her, and she does everything to keep it, that altar will demand sacrifices. So number 2, the altar is a place of sacrifice. Number 3, go to the next verse. Go to the next verse. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake. Number 3, the altar is the place for seeking supernatural and divine favor and assistance. Supernatural and divine favor and assistance. Now, in ancient Israel, if you read through scriptures, if you're a student of the Bible, you will understand that when the Bible says the Lord smelled a sweet aroma, what does it actually indicate? It means that the person who has brought that offering has found favor in God's sight. That to offer that sacrifice, because the word that is translated offering in the Hebrew is a word that comes from another word that means to draw near. If I remember correctly, if I remember my Hebrew a little, it should be korban or kaban, something like that. That word actually means to draw near. So when you are bringing a sacrifice in the Hebrew, what you are doing is that you are doing what? Drawing near. Now when you have drawn near, it's like when you approach a king, it's not enough that you came, you must find favor in his sight. Are you here? This is why when Mordecai was trying to put Esther under pressure, Esther said, no man goes to the king unless he sends for you. So how you will know that if he does not send for you and you appear there, then you must find what? Favor. He will have to stretch his scepter to you. Otherwise, the guards that are guarding the palace, you have breached protocol. They will automatically bundle you and sentence you to death. That's how it worked. That's why Esther said, anyway, since he has not sent for me, just fast. I will go and show myself, and if I perish, I perish. She was expecting that if she doesn't find favor in the eye of the king, automatically the guards are going to bundle her and sentence her to death, even though she was queen. This is why the Bible says that when she arrived at the king's palace, he stretched forth his scepter to her. That was to say to the people, I have smelled a sweet savour. Are you here? And she has found favor in my sight. There are scriptures in the Bible that give us an indication that the aroma is actually for favor, a sweet smell is for favor, and a bad smell is for judgment.